Hello, welcome to the devotion for Saturday, April the 9th, entitled The Authority of the Son. Now, Jesus, in this conversation with Nicodemus all week, ended, as we looked at yesterday, with going, are you willing to come into the light? Are you willing to step out of what is comfortable and easy and stand in the place where everything is seen for what it is and where you are accountable? But Jesus had to make that decision himself. As we look in John 5:16, it says, so because Jesus was doing these things on the Sabbath, healing people, in a way that the Pharisees and the teachers of the law interpreted as being work, and you were not allowed to work on the Sabbath. Now, Jesus would challenge that and say, this is not work, this is doing the message of Christ. If your ox fell in a ditch, you get that out. But if a person needs to be helped, you say that's work and can't be done. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, he goes, but in his defense, Jesus said to them, my Father is always at work to this very day, and I too am working. For this reason, they tried all the more to kill him, because not only was he breaking the Sabbath, as they understood it, but he was even calling God his own Father, making him equal with God. But Jesus gave them this answer, very truly, I say to you, the Son can do nothing by himself. He can only do what he sees the Father doing, and whatever the Father is doing, that is what the Son will do, showing him all that he does. Yes, and he will show him even greater works than these, so that you will be amazed. Jesus identifies himself as God's Son. And he says, I'm doing the exact same that same thing that I see the Father doing. What you are offended by is what the Father is asking me to do. And I'm going to be obedient to him, not to you. That's coming into the light. That's as out as you can get. And people will either love you or hate you. But they will not be fuzzy about who you are or what you are doing or where you are going. I remember I wasted a lot of time in high school trying to obey the law and never get caught at being a Christian. I didn't want to be in the light. I didn't want people to know the real reason I did the things that I did. And because of that, it was muddled and it was complicated and it was always difficult because I was having to give long, crazy excuses for not doing things that I could have very easily just said, I've committed my life to Christ and I don't believe God would have me do that. And it would have solved it just like that. But I wouldn't come into the light. Now, I don't know how many areas in your life where the truth, the light, walking in the real truth of why you're doing what you're doing and how you're living the way you're living and why you're conducting your business the way that you are and why you're dissatisfied in this relationship or that circumstance. And many times we only let just a little light shine on those circumstances or situations. We don't want to come into the light because it will cause people to be frustrated. It will actually cause things to really be dealt with. And we're just afraid. We stay in the shadows. We stay in the dark. And we never get to see the fullness of what God could really do. Jesus said, are we going to walk in the light? And then he goes, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And if you think that I'm in some way an errant of the law, then you've got an argument with God, not with me. Because I am doing the very thing the Father told me to do. And of course, in their case, they hated him even more. They plotted for how can we discredit him. And yet the end result is life for the world. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm just saying walking in the shadows never gets us to healthy. Father, for every one of us, we have that choice. Are we going to stand? Are we going to stick? Are we going to stay? Are we going to walk with integrity? Are we going to be people of character? Or are we going to do the path of least resistance, the easy, the squeaking wheel gets the grease kind of mentality in life? And Father, I have found that things that look like they're shortcuts in the short run end up being way more dysfunctional in the long run. And things that look more difficult in the short run, almost always, when they are integrity and character and walking in the light, always bring greater blessing. God, give us the courage to walk in the light, to follow Jesus' example, to do what the Father is telling us to do. In Jesus' name, amen. Great stuff. And we got even more for you tomorrow morning as we look even deeper into the principles of Jesus dealing with Nicodemus. Good stuff. See you tomorrow.